For the ECR, Richard.
Yes, thank you, Chair. First of all, I would like to thank the co-rapporteurs for a well-drafted and balanced resolution. From the ECR perspective, we strongly believe that the core purpose of the WTO must remain focused on trade itself, trade as a tool to raise living standards, create jobs, and improve people's lives. And the WTO should therefore concentrate on setting clear trade rules, providing a platform for negotiations, monitoring trade-off policies, offering technical assistance, and ensuring effective dispute settlement. Everything else, there are other institutions and formats for multilateral negotiations, be it the ILO, when it's labor, gender, whatever. When it comes to sustainable development, you have the UNSDG. For the climate, you have UN, FCC. We should not dilute the WTO main core, which is facilitating international trade. And I guess that is something that we should reflect in our resolution as well. So this brings me to the next point, which I also addressed, which is also addressed in the resolution, the plurilateral agreements. I would caution against introducing strict minimum participation requirements as mentioned in point 5. Such thresholds risk recreating situations where one country or a small group of countries can block progress. Instead, the WTO reform should provide architecture that is flexible enough to allow like-minded members to move forward together in addressing common challenges. Finally, given this resolution will form the basis of the message we are bringing to Cameroon, I would encourage the rapporteurs to consider slightly stronger and more direct language on China and the challenges it poses to both EU and global trade. We should not allow constantly changing political noise elsewhere to distract us from the long-term risk associated with command economy, systematic overcapacity, and market-distorting practices. Last but not least, my question to the Commission is, since we are in favor of introducing plurilateral decision-making within the WTO, is European Commission also ready to revisit past decisions where EU was actually blocking the consensus and actually showing the goodwill that we are ready to revisit, for example, the certification, standardization on multilateral level? Thank you.
And now I give the floor back to the Commission.
What we have is a foundational principle of the WTO that was put in place on the basis of a balance that was struck in 1995. The idea was that this balance of rights and obligations, this balance of liberalization and disciplines was going to be subject to constant negotiation. This has not happened. So, 30 years on, are we satisfied? Now, yes, climate was not part of the EU submission because the idea behind our reform proposal is to look at how the organization works. The reason why we haven't had much progress in trade and climate in the WTO is precisely because there is a lack of flexibility within the system that would allow us to reach agreement on how to treat the trade impact of climate measures. So let's concentrate on fixing how the system works so we can do what needs to be done in terms of the thematic priorities that we have. On annual ministerials, this is something that we've thought about, and although the logistical implications of having an annual ministerial are prohibitive, we do think that there is merit in having a conversation with the membership in having sort of a pared-down ministerial, so not the big 3-4 day global trade festival that ministerial conferences tend to be, with a million side events, etc., but a more pared-down political discussion among ministers in Geneva. And that is something that we think has merit and that we can bring to the institutional reform discussions. Just on Mr. Kols' statement about question about us blocking standardization. I'm very sorry, but I need to check this. I think this might not be something that DigiTrade deals with, but another part of the Commission, and I know I represent the Commission here, so this is not an excuse. But I doubt that was a plurilateral. But if okay, we can get back to this point at another occasion. Thank you.